Now let's jump over here to a series I like to do, and I haven't done in a while, but I like to do this. It's called RT Recap. And right now, as you can see, I'm on Rotten Tomatoes, and I'm looking at the page for The Kid Who Would Be King. Now, if you don't know what the RT Recap is, what I'd like to do is take a look at when the reviews drop for a new movie. And even though I've always said that Rotten Tomatoes is very much kind of, don't always trust it. It's take it with a grain of salt sort of thing. A lot of people tend to come to this website and treat it as the God's truth. Treat it as this is the de facto feelings for the film, and this is where it should be treated. And I like to break it down from my perspective, looking at the top critical responses and analyze what they're saying about it in order to maybe get a better, more fundamental understanding of the movie before you go and see it. More of a review of the reviews, so to speak. Now, right now it's sitting at 87% with 45 fresh reviews and 7 rotten, with the critical consensus saying The Kid Who Would Be King recalls classic all-ages adventures and repurposes a timeless legend for a thoroughly enjoyable new addition to the family movie canon. And that's what I've been hearing a lot about this from people's reactions on Twitter and things like that. The movie itself looks pretty damn good, and I'm actually wanting to go see it this weekend if I possibly can. Now, it says here that the story centers around old school magic meets modern world in the epic adventure The Kid Who Would Be King. Alex thinks he's just another nobody until he stumbles upon the mythical sword in the stone, Excalibur. Now he must unite his friends and enemies into a band of knights, and together with the legendary wizard Merlin, take on the wicked enchantress Morgana. With the future at stake, Alex must become the great leader he never dreamed he could be. And it's clearly the a kid's take on it, but it looks like it's a lot of fun. It's written and directed by Joe Cornish. Cornish did Attack the Block, which was just awesome movie. If you never saw Attack the Block, he also co-wrote Adventures of Tintin back in 2011 with Edgar Wright, and we still need sequels for those, but the dude's pretty solid, and he's bringing back some 80s goodness, which Attack the Block also felt like 80s alien invasion movie goodness. Now, let's take a look here at just the top critic reviews for The Kid Who Would Be King. So Pat Padua here from Washington Post says, do Middle Ages hold the key to saving the world? The Kid Who Would Be King suggests so. All right, well, that's not much of a summary. I guess it's just, does this movie stand up to, does it stand up for what it's trying to do? Or does it accomplish what it's trying to do? Yes, that's why I take that one. Carrie Darling here from Houston Chronicle says, with a fresh review, it's often quite funny. The effects are satisfying, if not out of this world, and the message that we should all ally with whom we disagree to defeat the larger evils in this world is meant as much for adults as kids, but it's never too heavy-handed. Now, always when it comes to these kind of movies, you want to have something there for the adults, and I think, hey, look, preaching a message of unity across the political aisle, across the political divide, people you disagree with, to fight for the greater good is a good message to send, and one that I think parents need to remember, especially when it comes to Thanksgiving dinner and politics come up. Brian Truitt from USA Today says, The Kid Who Would Be King revitalizes the Arthurian legend for a new generation of film fans with a family-friendly story as sharp as Excalibur's blades, basically giving it, saying that it's pretty sharp, good story, and it works. Katie Walsh, sorry, says Cornish crafts a King Arthur movie that draws in a younger crowd, reinterprets a tale for a modern age, and speaks consciously to the current political climate. That's quite the feat. And again, really touching upon the let's all join forces and let's take down the evils of the world. And no, it's not going to probably be aimed at as it being anti-Trump or anything like that, but larger problems, larger issues, climate change, poverty, unemployment, things like that is what I would like to think that he's going for here. But I don't know the writers. I don't know Cornish's personal politics. Lindsay Barr from the AP says it's surprisingly delightful film full of action, heart, crazy-haired Patrick Stewart as old Merlin, and a few genuinely good gags. It really couldn't have come at a better time. So again, at a time when we want more kind of fun, flighty, fanciful movies that we can enjoy, everyone can enjoy. Because remember back in the 90s, we had all these movies that were like fun for the whole family. Like literally fun for the whole family, right? Like look at, I'm just going to say Princess Bride, for example. Princess Bride is a movie I watched religiously as a child. I watched religiously as a kid. My buddy and I would rent that movie all the damn time, love it even to this day. And as an adult, I look forward to showing it to my kid because it transcends time. You know, it transcends all of the nonsense to tell a fun story that's infinitely rewatchable. And that's kind of the vibe I'm getting out of this. Maybe not infinitely rewatchable, but definitely one that is going to kind of aim for what The Princess Bride was, and maybe come close to hitting it. Now, Dana Schwartz from Entertainment Weekly here says, the script is good-natured, action-packed, and attempts to delve into thematic territory beyond what might be normally expected from a kid's movie. And I like that too, where it doesn't treat everyone like they're stupid. That's one of the biggest problems with these large tentpole films, is that the scripts are so diluted and they're aimed for a general audience and easily translatable across the globe that it takes everyone for granted. It treats everyone like they're stupid. There's a reason why you go, man, that person would never say that. Why would they say something so stupid? Why would they do that thing that's so stupid? Because they're trying to play to a worldwide audience that has a language barrier. Yeah, it's ridiculous because they remove nuance and subtlety and they take away what people are capable of comprehending and understanding. Now, Sandy Angulo Chen says, Goonies meets Lord of the Rings in a fun but sometimes scary adventure. I think that kind of explains itself. Blake Gobble here says, Joe Cornish is a genre geek behind Attack the Block, ably relishes the film's goofy ideas and good-natured quirk. Again, I mentioned Attack the Block as being this excellent movie. It really was. So again, that kind of sells me on it. Sean P. Means says, Cornish definitely mixes exciting action sequences, some scary CGI creatures, and a sense of humor that the kids will enjoy, and is dry enough to amuse their parents, whose knowledge of Arthurian legend begins and ends with Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Okay. So there's going to be a lot of sight gags. And there's probably going to be a lot of little jokes in there that aren't aimed at the kids, that are aimed at the adults and things along those lines. And that's going to be very much aiming to be more towards Monty Python take on the Holy Grail in that particular storyline than anything else. And that actually makes me more excited to see the movie, because anything that's somewhat tangentially related to the Holy Grail in a positive is always a good thing. I think I'm not alone on that front. I think you guys are going to agree with me on this one. Now it says, Robin Clifford here says, the noisy seen it before finale turns A Kid Who Would Be King into something a little less than it could be. They had me for 3/4 of the movie. And again, I think we run into a problem with a lot of movies these days of how to end. How to write a finale is not something they really teach you when it comes to writing school. They don't. They go, here's a strong opening, hook the audience. Well, then how do you keep them going to the end? You got to put a little bit of something else extra in there. And a lot of times these movies in the finale kind of do fall apart in the third act. We hear about that pretty often. So it's kind of a common thing, but it's also probably very predictable. If you know the Arthurian tale, you know how it's going to end, all that stuff. But again, it's aimed at kids, and that's who the primary demographic is. So Robin here is just, he's a boomer, but I get it. Norman Wilner here from Now Toronto says, the movie's target demographic won't be bothered. They'll be delighted by the heroics, the adventuring, and the nifty, quirky physicality in which Emery and Stewart perform Merlin's magic tricks. And maybe that's as it should be. Again, giving a movie for the kids, just for the kids. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing bad with that whatsoever. And I feel we've moved past a lot of that, or maybe I've just gotten older, and for me, it's totally different now. For me, it's just a totally different experience where I look at it and I'm just like, I don't know. Right. Like I remember like when I was taking my brother and sister to see movies like Snow Day, when that came out, Nickelodeon putting out Harriet the Spy, movies like that. But then we have movies like Goosebumps that are aimed for that younger demographic as well. And maybe I'm just not seeing them. Captain Underpants is the thing. Maybe I'm just getting a little bit too old. And once my daughter becomes of age, I'll be able to see those movies again, because they'll actually be on my horizon versus something I had to see a poster for and then forget 2 seconds later. Now, finally here, Kelly Vance from East Bay Express says, The Kid Who Would Be King is an amiable young person's fantasy that adults will probably relate to more than kids. Brexit analogies and all. Okay, so it does go a little bit on the politics side involving British politics, which Americans aren't going to fully understand the complexities of Brexit, nor, will they ever fully get the complexities of it, but that's okay. The movie ultimately seems like it's going to be a lot of fun. The reviews are all positive. The reviews are basically saying like, it's go in there expecting what you're going to get. You'll be delighted along the way. Your kids are going to have a good time. And there's enough humor there aimed at the adults that they're going to be able to walk out going, okay, that was okay. And maybe they'll, watch it again with their kids on home video down the road. And I think that is kind of the perfect way to approach something along the lines of a concept like this, to tell an Arthurian tale, but aimed for a younger audience. It kind of feels like, if I'm being fair, I saw the trailer for this and I thought this was like the next Percy Jackson series. I thought this was based on a young adult novel that they're just, adapting for film. And here's the deal. If people think that too, if I'm not the only one who thought that, and people think there's going to be a sequel and the movie does really well, there could be. Although I don't know where they would take it because I haven't seen the movie yet, but you know, hopefully we all will this weekend. Hey, thank you so much for getting to the end of the video. I really appreciate it. If you guys want to get more up-to-date movie news and information, as well as breakdowns of trailers and other types of stuff, be sure to watch the other videos, click subscribe, and check back daily for more content from me. Again, my name is Matt Jarbo. This has been $3 Theater. Have yourself a great day, guys, and peace out.